Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Big Blue News Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Beasmore, and today, of course, we've got the co-host Nolan Fleming. Right now, we have some technical difficulties, so we're going to only do an audio-only podcast for this episode. It'll obviously still be on YouTube, but also check it out on Apple Podcast and Spotify. It's Big Blue News Podcast, so check it out there. How are you doing, Nolan? Though?
Oh, it would be better. I would be doing better if this wasn't happening with the technical stuff. But other than that, pretty good. I need a haircut and I need to shave. So that's pretty much it.
Hey, I mean, I guess it's probably better that we're doing it off camera then, since you need to shave and also get a haircut, right?
Yeah. Probably a fair point.
Man, I'm doing well too. I'm a little bit tired, of course, still working overnight, but man, we're going to get into a lot in the podcast. I wish you all could see me right now because I'm actually wearing a Man Crush Everyday shirt with John Calipari's face on it, and I'm only wearing that.
Turn on your camera for a second to show them.
You know what? I'll turn it on just real quick. I'm wearing it right now because, of course, John Calipari UK, the admissions, everybody, they were able to finally free Big Z, and I am so happy about that.
The greatest thing to ever happen to me. No. Uh yeah, that was pretty awesome. I didn't expect it. I don't think anyone expected it, but it happened and that's about all I can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, the night before, if y'all were paying attention, I mean, people saw it potentially coming. Of course, Jack Pilgrim tweeted about it. I saw it also on a discussion board that potentially he was going to be free, and Justin Rowland actually announced it basically the night before, saying, "Hey, Big C is probably going to get free." And you messaged me, and you're like, "What's the news about it?" I said, "It's about Big C, man. We'll figure
Yeah,
it."
I don't pay fees for that stuff right now.
I mean, I don't pay fees for anything as well. I mean, I just found out through a friend, so I just asked. I said, "What's the news about Big C?" And they told me, and obviously, I couldn't tweet about it because it's behind a paywall. I
On a paywall, yep.
didn't know about it personally. Of course, we all found about it. We all found about it the next morning whenever Zvonimir Ivisic was able to get free. Ben Roberts was the first person to officially announce it to the public. I found out about an hour later through UK that he was free. Of course, you all can listen to Ben Roberts. He works with the Herald Leader, but I found out through myself that, or I found out through UK that he was finally free, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I know that there is a concern though, in practice that, they've been practicing for a while and he hasn't participated in any of them. So I think they're wanting to try to get him in very, very, very quickly.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree with you on that. There's also one other concern that Ben Roberts also pointed out, and I also know is right now we don't know if he's still eligible with the
yeah, the NCAA, isn't it?
Yeah, with the NCAA, because people are thinking he could have potentially gotten paid while he was overseas. Obviously, his amateur status. It'll come down to that, but hopefully we'll find out within the next couple weeks, month at most, that he'll be eligible for this upcoming year because we don't want another Eloy Vargas situation.
Or Enes Kanter.
Well, I meant Enes Kanter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tired, y'all. I hate
No,
working.
I understand, man. Like the college life and working midnight to 8 is not very good for the brain.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but yeah, I
But
meant Enes Kanter though.
yeah, and I agree. I don't want another Ennis situation. It is possible, but honestly, I'm not going to put any in negative or positive energy out there. Let's just celebrate in the moment that UK has allowed him to come here.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. And John Calipari actually released a statement earlier this morning. I will tell you all about it. He said this. He said, "I can't tell you how happy I am with how this all turned out. The work was done by Big C and his family. For him to be persistent and keep fighting was so impressive and showed how badly he wanted to be a part of our team. He overcame all obstacles and just wouldn't be deterred. When we started recruiting Z, my mind started moving to how we can help our university become even more prominent worldwide. This basketball program is a global brand. and now we can continue to open new avenues for students to come to the University of Kentucky. Let's continue to pursue some of the best basketball players in the world and showcase what a great institution by the University of Kentucky is. And he's not wrong. UK is such a great institution, and I'm so happy to hear about Big C being free.
Yeah, and we highlighted before when all this stuff was going on just how important it is for recruiting international players. Because if UK did not let him through, I don't think they would have gotten an international player, at least for the next 3 to 4 years.
I agree
Uh,
with you 100%.
I think it would have been detrimental. I think it was detrimental to that aspect of things. And but he's cleared, so I think they shouldn't have much trouble. I mean, it might still be an issue with the international players. I mean, it was very, very hard for him to get in here. But I don't think it should be nearly as bad of an issue as it would have been.
Yeah, I mean, it took almost nearly 2 months for him to get here. Hopefully, everything will work out with him with classes this coming up semester because, like you said, we don't want to focus on the, future negatives that could come from the situation. Hopefully, right now, we're just going to bask in the greatness right now that he is eligible as a student, and hopefully, he'll be eligible also as a player in the future.
Yeah, I agree. That's about all I gotta say about that too.
I hear you. Well, now let's get to the next topic. We're going to be talking about how four-star edge Brian Robinson from Ohio committed to Kentucky, and it didn't come as a surprise to, Nolan and I. We both thought he was a Kentucky lock.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was down to between Michigan, UK, and Penn State. I should put UK first since, we obviously won out. I'm happy UK won out with the edge rusher, and man, this class is going to be so monster this upcoming year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy, crazy class. They're not even done yet, I don't think. Um, and as far as Robinson goes, he's going to end up being one. He's one of the best players in the country, probably is what he's going to end up being. Definitely one of the best defensive players in the country. I mean, his stars are. I mean, he's only a 4 star, he's not a 5 star, but I mean, he is a freaking athletic specimen, dude. I mean, he's a freak of nature. Uh, if you watch him play, he's really, really, really good, and I think they're definitely thinking they have something with him. I'm sure that the comparison to Josh Allen is there, uh, as it should be, because he just does. He reminds me a lot of Josh Allen in a way, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you 100%. And I was so surprised that, Ohio State wasn't recruiting him because he's an Ohio boy. And honestly, I thought Ohio State was. And I think that was the main holdup in his recruitment. He was hoping his, hometown state would offer him, but obviously they never did. UK moved in, finally swooped in and took over his recruitment. And man, it's going to be so dangerous as long as Brad White stays at Kentucky. I mean, UK is going to be dangerous for years on the defensive end, and I'm hoping that Brad White will be here forever. Obviously, he's been here since 2018, and I'm surprised he hasn't left. I'm grateful he isn't. He is not gone right now, and I hope in the future we'll keep him, and hopefully UK can continue to build on this momentum.
Yeah, and I don't know that he necessarily does actually have the title, but would it really shock you if he were to be named head coach in waiting?
Head coach in waiting. I mean that's what John Calipari wanted Kenny Payne to be once he left, basically. But you have seen what has happened with Kenny Payne so far
Yeah,
since
that ain't
coach.
happening. That is sailed. But I think Brad White. I legitimately think Brad White, if Stoops were to retire today after this season, I legit think Brad White would probably be the head coach.
Yeah, Mark Stoops either left for a different job or retired. I would definitely say Brad White should probably be the #1 head coach in line because man, he's just so gifted on the
Steve, though, I think Stoops is around. I think Stoops is going to be here till he retires.
I I agree.
I saw the stat yesterday. He's like the eighth or ninth highest paid coach, in all of college football,
Mhm.
and that's really interesting. He hasn't even made the New Year's Six bowl. I mean, he's won 2 Citrus Bowls. That's a really, really, really good bowl as well. But he's done all that without winning the SEC or anything like that. So I would say his job security is really safe.
I agree with you on that, and I think the main reason why UK hasn't been able to get into the New York Six Bowl or anything is due to the talent that they get every class. It's mainly 3 stars, some 4 stars, but it's mainly 3 stars. But this year's class is completely different. They've been getting the 4 stars, and if you can get 15 to 24 stars in your class, things can change because usually UK gets about 15, 20, 3 stars, maybe like 5 to 10 4 stars, and then potentially 1 or 2 5 stars in their class, potentially at
Right.
most.
Right, and we also get our transfers. But actually, I think the transfer portal is going to be a big reason why Kentucky is going to be able to probably make the next step up
Mhm.
because what's his name, Josh Pate or whatever, uh,
On
late
SEC
kick or something, whatever it's called.
parlay kick, yeah, I know what.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, really enjoyed that guy. He's very, very, very fun to listen to. But the transfer portal, as he was talking about in an episode that Kentucky, the way they were going to be with it, is that they're not going to get 5 stars, which I understand they're not going to get a ton of them because Kentucky's just not the flashy brand necessarily. But with the transfer portal, you can just give them what you are and what you're building and all that, and they'll come to Kentucky. And we've already seen that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it with Devin Leary, Will Levis coming to UK.
Danke and
Dan
Barry Brown.
Danke, and well, they weren't on the transfer portal, but yeah, I mean, on the
No,
offensive.
I'm talking about the recruiting class whenever that was.
Oh,
2020,
yeah,
2021.
it was 2021 whenever he brought in Danke and Barry Brown.
Right. And so that class gets older. I mean, that was a really, really strong class as well. When that class gets older, um, we're gonna see a lot of improvement, I think, there too.
Yeah, I think so too. Once you're able to grow from that, obviously, whenever you become a junior or a senior in college football, that's whenever you start getting a lot of playing time, a lot of snaps, and obviously we have seen a lot of the underclassmen getting a lot of snaps. Of course, you saw Dane Key, Barryon Brown last year as true freshman, getting so much playing time, along with Dion Walker on the defensive end, and he played so great on the defensive side this past weekend, calls down interception against Florida. I mean, only being a sophomore, man, Dion Walker is just insane.
He's gonna be something when he's a junior next year. Because I don't even know if we'll get a senior year out of him because uh he might end up being a really, really high pick in the NFL draft next year.
Yeah, if he's not a first round pick, I'll be highly surprised come his junior year for sure.
I will too. So I wouldn't. I don't expect. I don't know anything. Obviously, I'm just like spitballing here. I don't necessarily.
Oh no, we may have lost Nolan.
Really fun to watch.
Oh, Nolan, is your connection okay?
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's fine now. You cut out for like a second or two. I'm like, oh no, did we lose Nolan? But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what UK can do with the recruiting class going forward because if you can continue to capitalize like UK has done in the class of 2024, there's no question in the future that UK could potentially start getting 5 stars and 4 stars come into the program because if that happens, then there's no question that UK should not be competing for the college football playoffs, along with the New York Six Bowl, but also in the future, I forgot which year it is, the college football playoff format. They're moving it to
Next year, literally next year.
next year. So if UK can continue to capitalize like they are right now, there's no question that they should not be competing the college football playoff maybe next year or the following year.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know about next year. I actually think next year we're probably going to be a little weaker than we have been, but I think definitely at some point during this new format and be we're going to be in in thick of it.
Mhm.
But what you're talking about with 2024 though with Deion Walker, what I was saying was um, junior year Deion Walker is going to be something, but also I mean I think Brian Robinson will play pretty quickly.
I
Just my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, also on the defensive side, you have Alex Safari, who's only a sophomore playing. Like,
Right, and Maxwell Harrison too.
yeah, I mean, there's so many players who are just underclassmen that are playing a lot, and I think it'll showcase next year. Like I said, with UK potentially making it into the college football playoff. Obviously, you don't think it'll happen, but man, with our defense and our offense, with how it's been playing, obviously not really great so far on the offensive side, other than Ray Davis, but he'll be gone after this year, sadly. But with the way our defense has been playing, as long as Brad White stays, I don't see why UK can't compete for the college football playoff, at least for a spot next year in it.
You never know. You just never know.
Yeah.
But we should probably get to talking about. Oh no, wait. Speaking of recruiting, we're Rico Scott, right?
Yeah, we want to bring up Rico Scott. Obviously, we brought him up in our last podcast episode, but more than likely, he talked to Vince Merrill on the radio the other day. Not on the radio, but Vince Merrill had a quote from a recruit. More than likely, it was Rico Scott, but he believes
Yeah,
that
it definitely had to be Rico.
he said one kid who was committed to a top five program, he's like, this is the place to be. And then obviously Vince Merrill thanked the fans and everything. We talked about it in our last podcast, but yeah, man, if Rico Scott can flip to Kentucky, I think it would be the biggest get under Mark Stoops to just be able to flip someone from Alabama to Kentucky.
Yeah, as in you're established in a new world when it comes to recruiting. But also, I think the coaching staff, Scoop, is really confident that they're going to get him. Just what I've heard. Uh, so I think it's a real possibility. I kind of expect it. It's just a matter of when, probably. I don't know when. I don't know. I know me and you talked on the last one. I think we both said it would probably be closer to like signing day or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, the only reason why I think Rico Scott could flip to Kentucky, obviously, not because Alabama isn't doing the best. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why they're not doing the best like they have, for the past decade. But also another reason why is due to his high school teammate and quarterback committing to Kentucky. Obviously, Stone Sanders, he's 2025. Rico Scott is 2024. So, like I said in the
Right.
previous podcast, they would have to wait at least a year to play with each other.
Right. And they were both on a visit together, by the way. Everyone knows that now, but still. And they're like best friends. I mean, I just think I think that's going to be a major reason why. Because Stone, obviously, if you follow him on Twitter, even a little bit, he clearly wants him here. And it's just it might Stone Sanders might need to have a job recruiting for us though, because like that'd be a heck of a job on his part if we do inevitably get him.
Yeah, I mean, it would be insane if UK does get Rico Scott, and I hope it does happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, we talked about it a lot in our previous podcast, so if y'all want to check that out, I can definitely leave a link in the description once I post this podcast episode, and it'll be interesting to see what happens though. But now let's talk
I
now.
agree.
Let's talk with UK football versus Georgia. Man, it's going to be an exciting game. So many UK fans are saying right now that UK will upset number one Georgia back-to-back national champions this week in Athens. And I'll just keep reading this tweets right now, or I don't even know if they're called tweets since it's on X now,
Hey,
but
who even really knows? I
yeah.
don't. I just stopped trying.
Yeah, I keep reading these posts on X and everything, and man, it just gets my heart pumping. I'm like, we can do this, but my mind is saying something else, and obviously I hope UK can do that against Georgia, but it's going to be tough, and the line keeps going down and down and down right now for the game.
Yeah, it's gone down significantly since it opened 19 and a half, and like literally in like a matter of like a day, it was at like 14 and a half.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm like you. I keep seeing people say that it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I'm not willing to say that right now just because of heartbreak, and I don't want to be just distraught. But I don't know. I just think, and also you need to watch it with that when it comes to Georgia, because you really do not want to tick them off.
I agree with you 100%. And obviously, the main thing that is going to happen with UK on the defensive side is they have to stop Deion Walker, or not Deion Walker, Brock
Brock
Bowers.
Bowers.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, they'll have to stop Brock Bowers for sure on the defensive side whenever UK is obviously on defense. And it'll just be interesting to see what Brad White does. And then also, Liam Cohen on the offensive side, will he officially like open up his playbook against Georgia? Because the last time
Surely he will.
yeah, the last time UK played against Georgia in Athens, I mean, Liam Cohen in that first half, he called great plays after great plays after great plays, and he kept UK in it for sure with all his offensive play calling. Obviously, it's not all up to him. Will Levis was making great plays, great throws, and then our offensive line was also blocking that game.
Yeah, but we had in that game, we had some receiver issues, which we really don't need to repeat this time. And a lot of drops in that game. One could actually argue about that game that if it weren't for the drop, if we had even just a few of those were catches, we'd probably be in that game a lot more than we were in the second half.
Mhm.
But I think he will. And I feel better about it as we do have a better receiving core, and our defense is as good as it is. Uh, the double team Brock Bowers probably.
Mhm.
Uh,
How about
but
triple team?
what'd you say?
I said triple team as a joke.
Well, maybe, yeah. I'm not. It might not even be a joke. Uh, but I, I I I think if it does happen, we that burn stuff on State Street. But you just gotta. There's a lot of factors, a lot of things that Kentucky's gonna have to do right. You have to play as clean of a game as possible if you're gonna have a shot at Georgia.
Yeah, if UK does upset Georgia, I am going to State Street no matter what on Saturday. I actually have a wedding on Saturday. Luckily, the wedding is early. It's at 2:30. It goes on till I think 10:30, I believe, or 11:30, one of the two times. So I
Right.
can obviously cut out early from my friend's wedding and then watch the UK football game somewhere else because obviously the game isn't till I believe 7 on Saturday. So the wedding will probably be mainly over by
Here's
7.
an important question: are you in the wedding party?
Wedding party.
Are you a, gr- are you
I'm
a groomsman?
no, I'm not a groomsman or anything. No best man, no groomsman for my friend's wedding at all.
Okay, that's good. So that means that you don't have to worry about offending anybody, really.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but I'm excited about this week. Luckily, like I said, my friend's wedding is at 2:30, so I should be able to watch most of the UK and Georgia game if I do leave early, so I'll be happy about that. Um, but yeah, the first half though, against Georgia in 2021. I mean, we lost obviously 30-13, but we kept it close in that first half. We were only down 14-7. Obviously, Georgia started to, take advantage of us in the second half, but there were a couple things like you said happened in the 2021 game. I mean, defense, we didn't recover the football. Everybody thought it was an incomplete pass, but obviously the Georgia offensive player, they were able to recover the fumble because Stetson Bennett he was thrown forward and they called it a forward pass which was a fumble. So that was one thing that UK's defense didn't recover the ball and it led to Georgia scoring on that drive eventually.
Yeah, and I think it's just stuff like that. And also, we have a significantly better defense this year than we did in 2021. Because let's be honest, the defense in 2021 was not particularly great. But that's a different thing this year. I think we're a really good defensive team this year, and we have a better offense. Not than that team, but we have a better offense just in general. Like we're a lot cleaner. So I think we have a better chance than we did even then.
Yeah, the one reason why I think UK has a great chance to beat Georgia is due to Georgia, they almost lost 30 players this offseason to either the NFL draft or the transfer portal. So I'm like, if they lost all that talent, along with losing their offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, who's now the offensive coordinator with the Baltimore Ravens. And man, the Ravens are doing great this year so far
Yeah,
in the
but
NFL
also,
with him.
and also like they just look worse than they have lately. They just don't look great. Uh,
Carson,
that Auburn game, they were not particularly, they didn't particularly play good. And I think, but obviously, I think they'll clean it up because I think this is their first, we're actually the first ranked matchup they've had all year.
I think so. I think you're right.
And because of that, they're going to probably be a little more hyped up than usual. But we have a tendency, though, to get really hyped up for games like this, too. And I think that's going to help us out a lot on Saturday.
Yeah, and UK for the most part they play up to their competition. They also play down to their competition, and uh Georgia, man, they're so physical. Obviously, UK is also physical. Kirby Smart has mentioned it so many times. And I'm just looking at the stats from the last game between Georgia and Auburn. And Carson Beck, he had over 300 passing yards, man. That's insane. But for
Almost all of them to Brock Bowers.
yeah, almost all to Brock Bowers. You're not wrong. He had 157 passing yards, so basically half of Carson Beck's passing yards came to Brock Bowers that game.
Yeah, that's and he was not. He didn't look really that good either. I didn't think against Auburn. Then again, we got a quarterback that really needs to be better for this game as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
he's gonna have to make better plays if we're gonna have a chance to win this game.
yeah. Speaking of Auburn's quarterback, Peyton Thorne, he went only 10 for 19 for 82 yards and one interception, and Auburn was still in that game. They only lost by a touchdown. They lost 27-20. And if I think for UK to have a fighting chance against Georgia, I think Devin Leary needs to throw for a little bit over 200 passing yards, in my opinion. He doesn't
I think that's good.
necessarily
I think that's a good estimate. Yeah.
he doesn't even necessarily have to. I would say if he can throw at least one touchdown, obviously the run game, if Ray Davis can get two touchdowns, I mean UK could have a fighting chance this upcoming week. I think for UK to win, they need to at least put a little bit more than 20 points on the scoreboard. I'd say UK needs to put anywhere between probably, I would say 24 to 27 points to have a fighting chance against Georgia.
Yeah, it's always low scoring when we play them too, except for 2021. But I think Georgia's run defense as well is also a lot weaker than it has been. And we have a really, really good running back. Our run offense is kind of insane right now, or at least coming off of a game uh, that was insane for them. And I think that's going to be a big factor as well. I think we're going to have to be able to run the ball a little bit, but if we're not, Leary has to make plays, but also just Danke and Barryon Brown have to catch. I mean, at the end of the day, you're a wide receiver. That is your like main job. You're going to have to catch.
Yeah, I mean, there are some concerns that Tavion Robinson and Barryon Brown could be out for the next game against Georgia. Obviously, it's just coaches talk because Mark Stoops was talking about injuries. He's like, I honestly have no clue who's going to be injured. He said this on Monday, but
Right.
it came after a question about Barryon Brown and Tavion Robinson. So a lot of people could infer he was talking about them. Obviously, he didn't specifically say their names, but it came out. It came after a question about Barryon Brown and
I
Tavion Rob.
think Barryon will play. I think is what I thought that's what everyone was saying.
Hmm.
But I thought he was going to play. But I think Tavion might be out because they did say. I know Liam Cohen said that they are running more reps with DeKel Crowdus and Anthony Brown Stevenson.
Yeah,
Uh, but honestly, I like Anthony Brown a lot. DeKel is good too. Don't get me wrong. There's no hate on him at all. But I think Anthony Brown needs more playing time anyway because he's made some plays. He had one touchdown. No, got called back
yeah,
in it
as
was
the
like against
troopers.
Akron. Yeah, but he also had some good catches. He's had some good catches this season. I think he needs to see some more playing time.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, Anthony Brown Stevens, he's been looking insane. Obviously, he still hasn't gotten a touchdown officially. It got called back due to a whole
Yeah.
you said, but yeah, I think the wide receivers they'll have to step up against Georgia. UK, like I said, they probably need at least over 300 total offensive yards, I would say, against the Georgia to win 300 to 350 at least, in my opinion, or more. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, like I said, Georgia losing 30 players, almost 30 players to either the draft or the transfer portal this past year, losing their offensive coordinator. I mean, these are all keys for UK to win, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. I think they're all very important. I think you can win without getting 300, but I think you do have to get close. And I also think if you have your defense is going to have to play up to its standards as well if you're going to even have a chance
Mhm.
in that circumstance. But I think our defense is going to be a major factor. I think we're actually going to probably play a pretty good game on defense. We almost always do when we play Georgia.
Mhm.
But it's just our offense is going to have to be good. It's been the deciding factor every time we've played them since Kirby Smart's been here. Um, we've had a shot. We had a shot last year,
We did.
even, but the offense didn't play up to standard. We had a shot, uh, maybe not 2 years ago, but the year before that, COVID year, offense didn't play up to standards. Year before that, in Georgia, when with Lynn Bowden at quarterback, 0 for like almost the entire game until like the very end of the third quarter. It's because the offense didn't play to stand up to standards. So common theme there, obviously.
Yeah.
And even going back to the SEC, at the time we played them for the SEC East in 2018, the offense killed them in that game as well.
Yeah, and
So,
then
it's just a common trend there, and I think it's a trend that they're going to have to break.
yeah, I think so too. I mean, also this past year, all the basically passing yards Will Levis got was from Berryon Brown. Obviously, UK lost 16-6, but Will Levis had went 24-31, 260 yards and one touchdown and one interceptions. But Berryon Brown had an insane game. He had 10 receptions for 145 yards and one touchdown. Obviously, I don't think Berryon Brown will have a game like that if he does play against Georgia, but definitely UK needs at least, in my opinion, 200 passing yards to win this game.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, let's get into our score predictions for the UK versus Georgia game, and then we'll quickly wrap up this podcast episode.
All right, so I'll go ahead and give mine first then. And I'm saying this because I want to be wrong. And I know we are a UK podcast. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to take Georgia. I'm going to take it Georgia 23, Kentucky 16 at the moment.
Man,
I say that just because I don't want to be a guy who pisses off Georgia.
yeah, I have my hands up whenever you have that score prediction, but I'm in the same boat as you. Obviously, you all can't see me, but I'm in the same boat as you. I do believe UK will take their first loss against Georgia in Athens, and hopefully we're both wrong. My score prediction will be pretty close to yours, but I'm going with Georgia 27, UK 17. They lose by a touchdown and a field goal.
I think that's and we say this not to be right either. We literally say this to be wrong. We're saying this because we're putting that energy in the world. Because my predictions probably aren't the best, so I put that energy out into the world because most likely it will not happen if I do.
Yeah, let's put
So
that negative energy out in the world that UK will lose, but we want them to win secretly.
because we all know that the world is entirely runs off irony.
Yeah, for sure. Which irony are we doing right now? Verbal, situational.
Shoot, you're asking the wrong guy.
Oh, God love good old English. I miss that back in the.
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah, I'm not necessarily in the same boat. English is not the best for me, but yeah, like I said, we're both predicting right now. Sadly, UK will lose against Georgia, but we're also thinking UK will cover the spread. So,
Yeah,
for UK's sake, so obviously we're going with UK to cover the spread against Georgia. So if you're gambling or betting, which we don't, approve of it. I haven't bet in forever. But we say
it's not
that
that I don't approve of it, it's just that I don't do it at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah, I haven't done it in a little bit. It's probably been like a month or so. Obviously, that's been a while for me, but obviously, we're saying UK will cover the spread against Georgia. So obviously, if you're doing that, pick UK. If you want to do that for our sake, obviously.
Yeah, should probably do that. But all I got left to say is stay sober, go Big Blue, have fun, don't have too much fun. But I think it's gonna be a fun weekend. I think we have potential to really have one of the most memorable weekends probably in history of UK football.
Yeah.
If we do pull this thing off.
Yeah, if everything does happen, I mean, just the build up to the game, I mean, beating Florida, then after that, getting Zvonimir Ivisic eligible, getting Brian Robinson to commit to Kentucky, and then beating Georgia in Athens. I mean, that would be the biggest week in school's history, I think, in my opinion, UK athletics history.
Yeah, for the athletics program, it would probably be the biggest thing to happen since.
Since
Because I think beating Georgia sets you up to have just an all-time season.
oh, you didn't you cut out from the since what, bro? Since what?
Since the national championship in 2012.
Oh, I think so too. I saw somebody else tweet that out. So yeah, I think it would be the biggest week since winning the national championship as well in 2012 in basketball, man. It'll be awesome though. And like I said, go Big Blue. Hopefully UK does beat Georgia, but obviously we'll have more episodes to come. We'll have an episode obviously next week after the UK versus Georgia game, and I'm going to start working on booking some guests for this upcoming rest of the year. I've been slacking on that because of my car wreck and then also getting COVID a couple weeks ago. So obviously going to try to get some former Kentucky football players on this podcast. But that's the end of today's podcast. This is Chris Beasmore signing out along with Nolan Fleming. I hope you've been doing well too. Oh, he already left. Oh, I did not know he already left. He already had to cut out. So all right. I'm going to sign out for the both of us. This is Chris Beasmore signing out along with Nolan Fleming. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Obviously, if you want to see this on audio only, just check out our podcast episode on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Big Blue News Podcast. Obviously, you can check it out on YouTube as well, Big Blue News Podcast. And it's going to be a great game on Saturday, in my opinion. But thank you all again for watching, and we're signing out.